Hey y'all, so for today I decided I wanted to do something a little different, and I decided that I'm gonna read some of the TD servers feedback because I don't usually do it unless an update had just dropped or I'm making my own. So this is a little new to me. I decided to pick out feedback from 3 specific different topics. I picked out the Tails having 90 HP, some Eggman, and the Blaze becoming a debuffer topic, because those were the biggest things that have happened in the past week, I'll say. So I wanted to go over some of the feedback that I read about that and just read it and give my opinion. Enjoy. The first feedback I have is starting with Blaze. This says, do not turn Blaze into a debuffer. I've played with her since rework in 1.3 and a little on 1.2, as she was awful and boring to play back then, ugh, old Heatwave. And I can say that she's literally the most fun and interesting character to play, as her abilities allow her to go into the EXE and get close to them, which is perfect for her. She's been shown to be courageous, and it makes perfect sense that she'd want to go up in front of the EXE. And to be honest, how the hell would you turn Blaze into a debuffer without killing off her current gimmick? She's not only unblockable, but she also is able to get up in the EXE's face like Metal Sonic. Making her into a debuffer would make her less upfront, as debuffing abilities that we have cannot stop EXE's attacks but hinder his movement and or vision. She would need to be more behind, not putting herself in danger, which completely defeats her personality, gimmick, and niche. Blaze is not the character to turn into a debuffer. Others like Rouge, Silver, and even Sally would fit much better for this role, but Blaze is not to do it. Do not fix what is not even broken. She's good as she is. She only sometimes lack more because the EXE is balancing. For fuck's sake, nerf TD and Sonic.exe for the love of everything. But she honestly is the best offensive character in the game compared to Shadow, as she has much more strong and versatile opinions than him. That's the end of my talk. Bye-bye. So, in my opinion about this feedback, I agree about a lot of it, especially the nerf Sonic.exe and Tails doll. I do agree that Blaze is definitely not the character to become a debuffer. I think she's strong in her own right and is probably one of the most well-rounded and balanced characters. I could see her maybe having like a burn effect that slows the EXE, but honestly, I don't really like that idea because turrets already exist. So I kind of agree that if someone were to change, it should probably be Rouge or Silver or Sally. Those characters make a bit more sense to be more debuffer than Blaze does. Another thing of Blaze feedback I saw is this. Blaze being a debuffer, I don't know. I'm not sure about this change. I don't even play Blaze much. Her current gameplay isn't my type, but I've played her in both 1.2 and 1.3. She seems fine right now, a very balanced character, and very annoying to kill if she knows what she's doing. Making her a debuffer would kill her current kit of having a brief startup maybe. But honestly, people are overlooking this change too much. If she did become a debuffer, it would be really nice to have new debuffs in the game, since currently there's only slowing down and blinding the EXE, which is really boring. Overall, I wouldn't mind the change. I think it could be kept if it was an add-on to her current kit, which would make her more of a unique stunner, since debuff and stuns. And since she doesn't really stun for long, it wouldn't be such a nuisance like it would for the normal stunners. So my honest take on this feedback is a little agreement, because I do like the idea of more debuffers, and I do think we definitely need more, as coming from a Rouge main, blinding and slowing is kind of boring, and I feel like there could be more uniqueness to debuffing rather than just stunning. The only problem is when they say overlook, I don't think people are necessarily overlooking the feedback and the idea. I think people are not looking into the kit of the ability and what the stuff will do, but they're looking at the character it's behind. As Blaze has been shown through games and everything to be more of a fighter and to show herself capable. So kind of removing that from her kit just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So while I do agree with some of this feedback, I disagree with a bit of the rest. The next feedback I have is for Tails. This one says, bro, Tails 90 HP? I didn't like this idea. This will make him look really bad. I didn't like this idea for me. Leaves 100 HP even. So, my opinion of this feedback is I don't really agree with it. I think the idea of Tails having 90 HP seems scary, considering he'd be 2-tap to Small Sonic, and if Colossus lands a charge on him, he'd also be 1-tap then to that. So that is a little scary to think about, but I'm keeping the fact that Alec has said that he's buffing everything else about his kit, and we already seen like the glide buff, and I'm pretty sure Alec's already confirmed arm cannon cooldown reduction, which for now doesn't seem like a lot, but knowing that a lot is getting buffed about his kit makes me just feel like maybe this nerf to his HP won't be so bad when we see what his kit really can do now. The next feedback I have says this. My thoughts on Tails having 90 HP and Eggman changes. I'm not going to read their Eggman changes. They aren't a lot, but I like to share it anyway. Tails having 90 HP. Well, yes, it sounds miserable, but Tails is never meant to go into the EXE's face. He is meant to be a backliner. Any Tails user knows that Tails is supposed to stay in the back, and if push comes to shove, and an EXE does come around, they are to flee to the nearest other person to help them out. So really, 90 HP and 100 HP doesn't really matter to a character like Tails. So I actually do agree with a lot of this feedback. I do think that 90 HP and 100 HP isn't that big of a difference, really. It's not too noticeable except for when you go against Small, but they are right that Tails is supposed to be a backliner. But the only thing is, I'm pretty sure Alec had said somewhere that Tails isn't supposed to be a true backliner anymore. I might be wrong on that, so if someone could fact check me, that'd actually be great. But I think Tails in the new update is gonna become more of a mid laner, so that kind of does go to show that 90 HP might affect him a little bit more, but I don't think it's anything too drastic with his kit. The next feedback I have for Tails says this. The main criticism regarding the idea of 90 HP Tails, I just don't see your vision. Tails is clearly stated to be a range stunner, therefore he should avoid conflict. While that's fair enough, you introduced a way for Tails to interact with his team close range by introducing the Tails carry. You are therefore both disencouraging and encouraging Tails to be close to the team, which just leads to the purpose of Tails to be incredibly vague. I assume you already know how to go about this, and by itself, Tails with 90 HP wouldn't be an issue. It is, however, a problem. Sadly, I could not read the rest of the feedback as I for some odd reason cut it out when I cropped it, so that's on me. But from what I know from this feedback, it's basically saying how the person does not like the idea of Tails having less HP since Alec is currently encouraging a more up-close approach with Tails' kit. I do have to disagree a slight bit, as Tails is still, despite even needing to carry someone with Fly, he doesn't necessarily need to be up close. For example, the EXE could be up and coming towards them so he could fly them out in advance, or it could be more of a, oh, Knuckles is about to die, I'm gonna hover over him and then let him grab onto me, because we already saw how the grab onto Tails will work. It's gonna show you a little logo that you can then press like X or something to grab on. So he could already be hovering above. And I guess for Tails doll, that could be a problem. But then again, I think that's why he's still 3-tap to Tails doll specifically. Small Sonic can't really do anything about it. And Colossus can charge, but he does have very high odds to just miss. And if you grab onto somebody like Knuckles or Amy, they can probably just block and push him back or hammer swing him away. So, I don't know. I think we should just wait until the update before we make any negative decisions and thoughts about this little nerf he's getting. The next feedback I have is for Eggman, and it reads, "As an Eggman man, the changes look good for the most part. Visually, the new button, turns, and Metal Sonic look awesome. As for the nerfs, having less turns is understandable for Sonic.exe and Colossus, but for Tails doll, it kinda sucks. For Eggman, Tails doll can easily destroy multiple turns without effort, so having less makes Tails doll more of a nightmare for him than he already was. And the Zapper nerf is also understandable. As for the buffs, fantastic idea with making Zapper a support tool. It was always just there in Eggman's kit before, but not something reliable. I think Metal getting his own version of Overheal is fine, since it only works with Eggman, and it probably can't stack with Creams, and the push buff is also amazing. For the most part, I agree with a lot of this feedback. The only thing I disagree with is Tails doll being able to easily swipe and clear the turrets. I think now that's going to change because Ellie confirmed turrets will be more tanky, meaning even if Tails doll flies and slashes at them, turrets take at least 2 hits, meaning if he wants to destroy a bunch of them, it'll probably take 4 to 6 hits, and chances are you'll have them a bit more spread out. Next up is more Eggman feedback. In my opinion, I think this is all great, and I'm happy he's getting a buff. I personally think he was in a good spot for Eggman, but these changes make him a bit more unique with different playstyles and change up how he plays. I think though Eggman was already in a good spot, and I think Zapper could be a bit annoying. I still think it will always be better just to spam shoot the EXE no matter what instead of shooting Metal Sonic. All I really have to say in response to that feedback is a little disagree to the spam Zapper, but that's it.
It's no use! It's no use! Chaos Control! Chaos Control!